first we got to talk about what you kind of need to know before you even think about selling, trading, holding, any of that. So the first thing you want to do is want to track what you're in it for, right? So let's say in this example, you bought a Paldean Fates box or tin or pack or whatever. Let's say you bought a pack, $5 pack, and you are the luckiest person on the planet and you pulled the Mew EX, right? So your cost is 5 to pull the Mew, which currently at this time, the market price is roughly 700. So you are plus 695 in unrealized gains. So it's really important to emphasize the unrealized because you have not sold it yet. The secondary market is telling you that the market is 700. You're in it for $5 because you pulled it from a pack. You are plus 695 in unrealized gains. So it's really important that we have to keep that in mind. So with this Mew, and we'll just kind of take a loose screenshot here, right? So this Mew, let's say that you bought it and you are plus 695. Look at you. Congratulations, chat. You have a Mew that you are up 695 in unrealized gains. So unrealized. So when someone asks me, should I sell my Mew? You know, if you sold it a month ago, right? So if we even go back at this chart, if you sold it a month ago, let's say August 13th. If you sold this a month ago, you would have possibly sold it at 500. Now, right, as we go even like to August, let's see, like August 25th, you know, 10 days later, roughly, you could have sold it at 650, right? You can't, it's hard. It's hard to predict what these ebbs and flows of the market are going to be. So it really just depends, to keep it as simple and straightforward as possible. Ask yourself a series of questions that even I ask myself when determining if I should sell a card or not. So the first thing is, do you need the cash? So cash, right? Do you need it? Yes or no, right? So yes, no. Yes, sell it, right? If you absolutely need it, like if there's like a loan or an emergency or something like that that you absolutely need cash, yes, sell it. And depending on the speed in which you need the cash, it's really kind of up to you, right? The faster you need it, the more you're going to kind of lose on potential value. So if you have it in an eBay auction or selling it at a in-person show or on Facebook Marketplace or something like that, like if speed is priority, you're going to lose that potential. So just kind of keep that in mind. So kind of play with those, and that's another topic for another time, but that's when you would sell it. So if you don't need the cash right now, the other question that you should start to ask yourself is, you know, do you love the card, but if someone came across and said, you know, this is kind of the offer that I would give, and it's like you can't say no offer, then list it super high. Like a lot of vendors will do that at bigger shows. So like, for example, if they had this card and they didn't really want to sell it at market, but they just kind of wanted to see if someone bites and gives them a too good to pass up offer, you know, you can kind of go about it that way. So if we do no, and then we do, you know, like too good, right? So this is kind of what we're talking about, the too good offer. And we say yes, right? So yes, you know, mark it up maybe plus, you know, whatever, 10 to 20%. So when you see that, when you see the 10 to 20% markup, that tends to be what people are kind of striving towards, is that they don't really want to sell it, but if someone gives them a really good offer, they'll take it. And if they don't, like if you don't even want to sell it at all, then keep it, right? Like you obviously don't want to sell it regardless on what people give you. You just want to keep it. The other part that I think is really interesting is if you don't need the cash, but you are falling out of the card, like falling out of love with the card, or you want to transfer that unrealized gain into trade, which trade gives you more buying power, you can trade the card instead of selling the card, right? So if you pulled the Mew EX, but you're not really a fan, but you want to collect, I don't know, let's say you want to collect shiny, like baby shinies, or you want to collect like PSA 9s or whatever, this card would be a really easy way for you to get a lot of capital in trade credit to trade towards a new goal or a new set of goals that you have. So trading is also a part of the equation that you should hold as well. So really, it just kind of boils down to 4 outcomes when looking at trying, like if selling a card is worth it, right? Do you need the money? Yes, sell it. How that method is, that's really up to you. So that unrealized gain will then become realized. So if you sell it for, the market on screen, let's say that was 700, you bought a $5 pack, you're plus 695 in unrealized gains. Let's say that you sold the card for 600, so your realized gain was really 595, right? So you made up the cost of the pack and then some, so you're up, the 595. And so that's it. Like you sold it, you got the money. If you want to display it and you still want to kind of enjoy the card, but you don't want to pass up a too good to pass up offer, you can still sell it and display it as for sale, but mark it up 10 to 20%. Just know, from a buyer perspective, it kind of lends itself to being a little odd that it's like if you don't want to sell it, then just don't bring it versus just kind of throwing a crazy arbitrary number out there or something that has ample sales data. But that's more on the vendor side, and that's more of a discussion on the other end. But basically, have it listed, too good to pass up, that's fine. So if this card maybe, let's say that the market was 700, right? So you had 700 and you put a kind of a 20% markup, you could list it for 840 if you wanted to. And if someone offered you 840, cool. You went above market, you were cashed out. So your realized gain would then be a little bit higher than what you could possibly get if you sold it at the flat market price. But if you don't want to sell it, doesn't matter what cash, then hold on to it. There's nothing pressuring you to sell it. You can hold on to it if you kind of want to see if it climbs, but it may also go down, right? So it's unrealized gains will go like this, and you won't know whether it's realized until you actually sell it. And if you just kind of want to hold on to it because it's a cool collector's piece and you pulled it, it's sentimental to you, there's nothing wrong with that. The other thing that I personally like to do if I have a card like this is if you want to support other collecting goals, you can use this for even more buying power because trade credit typically is more stronger than simple cash out. So going to trade shows and saying, hey, I have this Mew EX, I'm looking to trade with it, and buying a lot of cards to fund other collection goals is a really powerful way to not spend more money and get maximum value out of a card. Outside from the display and gambling and having a chance of someone offering you a too good to pass up offer. So that's kind of what I personally do. But at the end of the day, do not let FOMO dictate what you personally want to do because there's all these different paths of cash and displaying and trading and holding. It often gets very confusing because there's a lot of social media pressure to sell these cards and treat these cards like day trading. And it really just boils down to those 4 main pieces. So just kind of follow that line. That's what I personally do. I've seen success. It's keeping my head on my shoulders and not sent me down a FOMO path that I always regret because I hate hearing that from people. It kind of, makes me upset for them. Be like, man, like I didn't really want to sell that card, but I did. Now I regret it. That's the end of the day. You want to make sure that when you do something and you choose to do something with a card that you don't regret it at the end of the day. And having those 4 paths in your disposal and kind of going down that workflow is going to help you make a decision that you're not going to regret.